now
this
this.
bill because they want. Yeah, I'm reading it. They're trying to bring this bill up because they want to revisit. They're trying to get this pushed to the Supreme Court. This is hopefully their fodder for it to get Roe v. Wade overturned. Is what it sounds like.
What a
It's a
what
Trojan
a
horse, yeah.
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, so HB 565 clearly flies in the face of the interpretations of the U.S. Constitution set up by the landmark 1973 U.S. Supreme Court decision Roe v. Wade, which guarantees access to abortion up until the fetus survival outside the womb. In the, as of now, unlikely case that HB 565 was passed into law, it would almost certainly be set up for a legal battle that would go to the U.S. Supreme Court. Yeah. That's something that many boosters of the bill and similar legislation would actually. Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Shiesty.
Yeah, because they know it's absurd, it's extreme, right? I mean, it's so ridiculous. Death penalty for women who get abortions. I mean, that could be applied to women who have miscarriages, women who have medical abortions, medically induced abortions, because they might die if they have the baby. You know, like there's so many reasons why you can't have this fucking law. So it's absurd, but yeah, it's gonna go, get a Supreme Court challenge. That's what they want to do with it, so they can shoot down Roe v. Wade. It's disgusting. It's a ploy.
Right, I agree. Okay,
I see that as well.
Well, I think we covered everything. I believe that pretty much runs. You and Ian are not so far off. We compared to last time.
We bring people together.
Steve,
Yeah,
that's right.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah,
no problem.
You want to roll with super chats, Steve?
Yeah, let's get them out of the way here. Okay, 0132132 for 666. Never follow this channel, new viewers. This was a dumpster simmer, but there have been some dumpster infernos on this channel. This is true. Never follow.
That is true.
Zero. This was a simmer. This wasn't a full-on dumpster fire, but that's okay. Vibrantly, $2. Hashtag never follow. Thank you, Vibrantly. Brainiary, 50 crowns. Kind of liked this discussion. Topic is moving all over the place, but it's good. Yeah, there's so many different paths that these things can go down. This was really good. But as Destiny pointed out, one thing that somebody has said, 5 paths could be going down. It's a complex topic, to say the least. Shigwire, 200 crones. Or I think it's crones. Steve makes the perfect point. Thank you. I would add this. There are some studies suggesting that, quote, take offense triggers some release of excitement, hormones and neurotransmitters, thus making it potentially addictive. So people get offended because they are somehow like the high of it. And I think there's something to be said to that as well. I think that I've seen people, they purposely go out of the way to be offended because they like the endorphins or neurotransmitters or whatever rush they're getting out of it. It means something to them. I don't take offense.
Same thing with flat earthers.
The only thing that offends me is when you start talking about like the troops, right? I do defend the troops. I think that if you were one of those people out there saying things against, the people that have defended their, given their lives to defend this country, I will take personal offense to that. Now, if you want to say people shouldn't join the military, or you're against what the military does, that's the whole different ballgame. But be against the people that join for putting their lives on the line, I do take offense to that. But other than that, a few other things, except for misrepresentations of people's positions. Matthew Littlejohn, $5. Name one fascist policy that Trump has implemented. I think that's probably to you, Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in the United States with our institutions right now, I don't think he's been able to implement any fascist policies. It doesn't seem to be very possible to do in the United States. I would argue that he has a fascist disposition, though. So, for instance, his relentless attacks against the media are very fucking frightening. His constant inability to tell truthful statements. He lies about everything, and he seems to be constantly obsessed with rewriting history. The very fucking weird, state media things that he publishes sometimes, and his constant attack and labeling of other government institutions as enemies of the people, which is a very big fascist talking point. You're either with us, the people, or you're an enemy of the people. When he starts doing that to other institutions of the U.S. government that are supposed to check his power. So, for instance, when he does it to the DOJ, which can have his own people at the top that he's nominated, when he does it to the intelligence agencies that serve sometimes as arms of the DOJ as a check to power on the United States government, for instance, with the Mueller investigation right now, these are things that reek of authoritarianism, where it sounds like your goal is to mobilize the country under a single party to respond to times of great crises, right? How many times do we hear that everyone's about to kill us, the whole world is about to end, we're losing trade everywhere, fuck every other country, isolationist policies, hyper-nationalistic policies, these are all things that fall pretty easily in line with what a fascist would think. But no, he hasn't implemented, he hasn't taken over companies yet and mobilized them under the state, a state-run cartels or whatever, like they do in Venezuela or some shit yet. We haven't seen that.
Yeah, I definitely think that he's an authoritative person, and I think there's something to be said for isolationism. But I'm not going to go so far to say he's a fascist because, one, I don't think he knows what the meaning of the word actually is. But I do think he uses fascist language. There's no question he uses fascist language. I
don't think he
that
even
point, but
considers that like what he says has an impact on other people. He's just saying it because he wants to say it, but it signals a lot of bad messaging to people who are like, yeah, it's like a dog whistle. Yeah, they'll hear it as a dog whistle. He might not even intend it that way, but a lot of people do. A lot of people do, and that's dangerous, right? So I'm not saying he's a dangerous person, but you can't. He needs to be more careful about what he says.
Well, I mean, I think his handlers have probably given up at this point. I think a lot of them either are just giving him some shit and just letting him run with it, or I mean, as Destiny pointed out. And I do agree with him that Trump doesn't seem to be very well versed in any of these things when it comes to foreign policy, domestic policy, economics. He doesn't seem to have a clue. And even if they gave him the briefings in crayons, I still don't think he would understand it because they have actually said he doesn't understand the briefings. And so when you don't
pictures in it.
really know what's going on, do pop-up books for him or something. But when he says things like, you have to pay off the trade debt, or when you say you have to they actually wash coal. Clean coal, clean burning coal, you wash it ahead of time. That's what makes it clean. He's not understanding how a lot of these things actually work. Mm-hmm. So, that's what he said. They actually wash it in order to make it nice, clean coal. Okay. And let's see here. Jason, $5. Please change the name of the show to Smart People versus Dumb People Show. Would we get more?
I'm not sure. Ask him who he's talking about. That's the interesting question.
Yeah, Jason, let us know in the live chat there to whom you're actually can refer to, because everybody in this, I think, is smart. I happen to be friends with Ian. I think he's a very intelligent person, and I don't know Destiny, but everything he said so far, I find to be highly articulate and very well researched. So now, if you talk about Kyle and I, we may be the dumb people. That's fine. Mo,
I'm definitely on the dumb
$5. If people are not offended once in a while, the motivation for free speech is lost upon deaf ears. But keep talking. But never forget to listen. Yeah, I agree with you on that. We are going to get offended. It's how you go about what you do when you get offended. But free speech is going to offend some people. It's just the way it is in a society. We're allowed to have free speech. You're not going to please everyone. It's never going to happen. Anybody who's been on YouTube for a very long time knows you can't please everyone. It's futile trying to try. And you guys have very large channels. Destiny, you have a pretty substantial base. I'm sure you've noticed you're probably not going to, in any specific video, please everyone. I do have a video that has 100% likes. It's very rare.
Why would you say that?
You're going to ruin it. Going to go down.
Let me ask you, what do you think is a good goal to have as far as people?
Oh, I don't know. That donation take on free speech. That donation take on free speech was really dumb and really boring. Nobody that talks about being offensive or whatever, that's like the goal should never be to offend anybody. Usually when we talk about free speech, we're talking about like speech that leads to actual harm to people. That's like the interesting concept. Yeah. I don't know any reasonable person. That thinks that we need to make it so nobody is ever offended by any speech ever. That's a boring and stupid conversation to have. It's more like there are certain forms of political speech that lead to people potentially becoming radicalized. Is the trade-off of that for our freedom worth it? That's the interesting question.
That should be the crux of the conversation. I agree with you.
Yeah, that's the more interesting topic. Yeah.
Totally.
Was there any others, Kyle?
I was just going to let them shield now. Plug the channel, what you got coming up, where to follow you, that sort of thing. Ian?
Destiny can go first.
Okay, Destiny.
Yeah, I'm Destiny. My website is destiny.gg. I stream at Twitch at twitch.tv/Destiny. Follow me on Instagram at Destiny. My YouTube channel is Destiny. I do politics and video games, although my YouTube shit is mainly politics now. So, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'll go.
All right, Ian.
I'll go next. I'm Ian Miles Cheong. You can find me on Twitter at Stillgray. You can also find me on Instagram at Stillgray. That's SDILLGRAY. You can also find me on YouTube, where I started a new channel a couple of months ago. I talk mostly about video games, but also a little bit about politics and the intersection between video games and politics. I got some nice videos coming up. It's called Hype Break, HYPEBREAK. You can also go to hypebreak.tv. It's just a quick link to the YouTube channel.
Awesome. All right, Steve, any you need to put out there before we close out?
No, I just want to say that this was a really good discussion between both of you. It's not exactly what I envisioned. I thought there was a lot more contention than you guys actually had, but I'm actually really kind of grateful that you guys were able to see eye to eye on a lot of things. It just goes to show that even people that have passed diametrically opposite positions can come together and have a reasonable discussion and talk about things they may, even a year ago, may have been completely different. Had we had this video a year ago, I think it could have been quite different, because I've known Ian a while now, not a hell of a long time, but even in that time, I've seen him change his position and grow a little bit. So, and I consider you a friend, Ian. So
I consider you a friend too, and I think a big reason for that is, the influence other people have on us, at least on me. I'm not speaking for anybody else here. People say things like, "Oh, Destiny's a bad person," so my perception, my preconception of who he is colored by that, and it makes me attack him more, I guess. But I mean, listening to him tonight, he's a normal, agreeable person. I mean, not agreeable is a bad term. He's someone I can agree with, right? He didn't say anything that's egregious or anything crazy like that. Nope. So, I mean, he's a smart guy. He's a smart guy.
Matthew. Oh wait, hold on. I got something real important to say.
Sure.
Can I?
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Matthew Littlejohn. Can I shout out your super chats for you?
Oh, please.
Yes, please.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Matthew Littlejohn. What a great comment. So left, this would prefer someone who says nice things but drops 8,000 bombs on Middle Easterners and invades multiple countries. So first of all, Trump has stepped up the drone strikes in Yemen to such a great extent that more civilians have been killed under Trump's administration by a third-party review than happened under the entire Obama regime. So this idea that Trump, by the way, and people talk about Hillary wanted to invade Syria, Trump bombed one of their fucking airports. I don't know if you remember that or not, Matthew Littlejohn. But this idea that Trump is some peaceful arbitrator of peace or some shit across the world is hilariously fucking stupid to me. Maybe if you spent all day on the Donald, you might think that. But anyway, I wanted to give a special shout out to Matthew Littlejohn at $10 that he borrowed from fucking mom upstairs while he was watching the show. Great fucking way to spend it, you fucking moron. That's all
I
got.
Okay.
I'll take
again.
I'll take that last
don't
one
hold
then.
back, Destiny. Tell us how you really feel, man. You're very subtle sometimes.
Shigwire says, thanks to Destiny, Ian, and of course the indomitable Kyle and Steve. This is for you all. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Okay, we'll be back tomorrow. A doubleheader tomorrow on Flatterday night. We've got Godless Engineer and Father Team Skeptic. It used to be Father Skeptic. Team Skeptic. And then two new guys from the FE culture are stepping up to see if they can't convince us that the world is not a sphere. So we'll see how that goes tomorrow at 8:00. We'll catch you then.
Non sequitur. Your facts are uncoordinated.